And we are back. The boxing bookie delivers again, getting y'all rich, getting y'all paid. Went 2 for 2 tonight. Picked up both Barroso to pull the upset, and obviously I had Ortiz, and I had Ortiz on by knockout on the under. And the over under was 5.5. So everyone's just getting paid. That was good to see. But Vergil Ortiz, I want to get into that first. First of all, again, Tony Weeks absolutely does it again. Just a horrendous stoppage. Verge hit him with a little jab in the neck early in the first round. Seemed to offset, seemed to cause a little bit of stumble to Lawson, maybe buckled his knees a little bit. He put a little left hook behind it. That was the other shot that landed clean. He seemed to land a right hand to the body too, right while they were ending it. But there wasn't a whole lot there. And that stoppage was absolutely ridiculous. It's Tony Weeks doing it again. We saw Barroso. We saw the stoppage in the Barroso fight, which was insane. This was just as bad. This was a horrendous, awful, horrible, no good stoppage. But besides that, Vergil did what you'd want him to do. Barroso did what I told you he would do. Yeah, I told y'all, Rafa. I told y'all. Barroso. Rafa, don't forget to follow me. And I started a Patreon. So follow. If you know how to work this thing, join my Patreon. Join me and share your success stories. Rafa, I hit on the money line plus 350 and plus 1,400 on Barroso to win in rounds 1 to 6. Made 1,950. Bang! There you go, Rafa. I thought this was pretty easy. Like, look, I'm not throwing any shade at O'Hara Davies. He's not a trash fighter. He's not an Uber driver. He's not a bum. He's not a plumber. He's a good fighter. But I don't really see anything about him. And he gets hit and he likes to exchange. He said, Barroso said, Davies said that he was going to trade shots. He was going to trade with Barroso, and he was going to punch in between his punches. It's like, well, this is what's going to happen. Now, I wasn't necessarily expecting it to happen in the first round, like the first minute of the first round. But if that's your game plan and you're fighting Barroso and you're O'Hara Davies, you're getting knocked out. Like, that's for sure. That's something that we do know. Assad. I told you, man. Assad. No doubt. I told you. Look, the one thing I love about you, Bridget, like your Texans, you always support your own. You always support your own. Shout out to you guys for supporting your own. But O'Hara Davies was not winning that fight. It's stylistically a bad fight. And I don't think Davies is a bum. I just like he's got a decent pop. But Barroso, as you saw, has like world-class, elite level, top of the division type pop. And he just got caught. You know, that could come at any time. So I really didn't see Davies winning if that's the way he was going to fight. Davies is flawed. He's sloppy. He can be hit. We saw that right away. Assad, but follow me. Follow me on all forms of social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. Share it and let everyone know that the Boxing Bookie is bringing down the house. We're making money. I'm interested. We saw Rolly Ramiro at the fight. Rolly Ramiro came up and congratulated Barroso. Are we going to get to see that again? Are they going to run that back? Are they fitting to run that back? Because that would be a fun fight. I'd like to see it again. I don't know who wins. I think when it happened, perhaps, maybe, Rolly was starting to figure things out a bit, and perhaps he could have came back and rallied in the second half of that fight. But at that time, I think we were about halfway into the fight. Yeah, and Rolly warned Davies about Barroso's power. Rolly was in the post fight. They asked him, Jim Gray asked Rolly why he wasn't throwing any punches. He said he didn't want to get open. He didn't want to open up because of Barroso's power. Like, it's real. His power is really real. So, and no, Davies is not a bum, right? Davies is a domestic UK fighter. He's a good domestic fighter, though. He's a good fighter, right? Like, yeah, when he goes to the world stage, he's going to lose. And we've seen that. And he got the win over Lewis Ritson. But Lewis Ritson is another domestic level guy. So Rafa is right about that. I don't mean that to throw shade on him. Like I'm calling him a bum. He's a good domestic level fighter. Like he can win a British title. He's not a bum. But when you move up, and I think this had equally as much to do with people overrating Davies as it did with people underrating Barroso. Like Barroso was beating Rolly Romero. Rolly. Does anyone think Davies would beat Rolly? No one would pick that because he would walk in and get clobbered. So I don't see, like, if you think Rolly has a fairly easy fight with O'Hara Davies and Barroso was beating, I understand the boxing math doesn't work that way perfectly, but you see what I'm saying? Like Rolly and Barroso is a really, really good fight. That's a really good fight. We got a good card. It was fun, entertaining scrap. Well, the Barbosa fight was entertaining, so it wasn't a terrible card. And the Davies fight needed to be stopped. That needed to be stopped. The Vergil Ortiz stoppage was. Vergil's my boy. And look, no one is saying Lawson was fixing to win that fight. Obviously, Lawson, I told you guys to take Lawson on to take Ortiz on the under, and that Lawson was going to get beat up and get stopped. And he certainly was going to get beat up and stopped. Like, there's no question about it. Like, he was going to get beat up. He was going to get stopped. And that's all there was to it. Like, there's levels and levels and levels ahead. But what I want to say about Lawson is Lawson got the win over Villalobos back in April in Arlington. He earned that fight. He deserved that fight. Let him fight. Yes, he's going to get knocked out. He's going to get destroyed, but he signed up for it. Stop it at the right time. That was absurd. And when you go back and you watch it, like, Davies, I got Davies in my brain. Lawson looks at him like, is this a joke? Are you kidding me? Like, there's no way you stop this fight. And I'm the biggest Vergil stan in the world. Vergil's my homeboy. Love that kid. Like, he's really, really good dude. First time I ever talked to him, first time I ever interviewed him, we were out in Grand Prairie where he's from, and I was like, can you get a picture with my kid? He just goes up to my son, picks him up, and he takes it. I have a special needs, and he just picks him up, takes a picture with him, talks to him like, like he's one of the guys. And he was like 5 years old at the time. And it's like something he has never forgot. And like, I like Verge. I'm a big fan of Verge. I know him personally. I've watched fights with him. But that stoppage was absolutely ridiculous. And that's not to say that Verge wasn't going to win that fight. Of course Verge is going to win that fight. He's fighting Fredrick Lawson. He's going to win that fight. But that stoppage in and of itself was ridiculous. It wasn't as bad as the Rolly stoppage, because the Rolly stoppage, Rolly wasn't landing. Rolly wasn't landing anything. At least in this fight, Verge has landed a few shots. He hit him with the jab in the neck, and that's more of a balanced equilibrium thing. Then he hit him with a little left hook, and then he hit him with a right hand to the body right at the end. That landed well. But to stop that fight, like, you're going to stop every fight multiple times if that's what you're stopping a fight on. Lawson didn't look hurt. He definitely didn't look out of it. Even when they stopped it, he looked down like, why are we doing this? Vergil didn't like the stoppage. And, Vergil got a little sensitive about the fans booing him. And I've noticed that about Vergil a couple of times now. Like, I just asked him a question when he fought McKinson last summer. Just asked him, it's like, are you having trouble making weight? You look really big. He's like, no. He gets a little sensitive. He's a great dude. Love the guy. But he gets a little sensitive with questions, right? Like, the fans weren't booing him. Like, he's got a little chip on his shoulder. Like, he thinks people are against him or something. But he's a great dude. I'm not saying anything bad about him. I love the guy. But he's a little, like, look, not everything is personal, bro. I'm just asking you. Yeah, this is true. Like, I thought for a while, good point, Rafa. I thought for a while Kenny Bayless was the best ref in the sport. I really did. I thought, this is probably 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I thought Kenny Bayless, best ref in the sport. And you saw he was in his 60s or around 60 at that time. And you saw him decline. You saw him get old in front of our eyes. And I'm not insulting the guy. I'm not making fun of him or mocking him, but we saw that in real time. and he retired. And now we're seeing it with Tony Weeks. Tony Weeks, I thought, did a great job in some of these fights, but this is 2 now in just a couple of months, which he's ruined the fight. Like, again, this one, it doesn't suck as much because no one gives Lawson any reason, no one thought Lawson had any chance in that fight. In the other fight, in the Barroso fight with Rolly, we had just hit a climax. Like, Barroso was dominating, but like a little bit, we see the tide shift, right? And we had saw Rolly come back. He got the knockdown. It looked like, okay, now we're fighting at even terms. Which way does this go? Does Rolly seize momentum, or does Barroso go back, right? Because Barroso was no longer hurt at all, but he wasn't dominating the fight either. The fight had evened off, and there was 6 rounds to go. I think it was his 5th round or a 6th round stoppage in that fight. And so that really sucked because we didn't know how that fight was going to conclude. We knew, like, it was just a matter of when, right? Like, when I did the video, when I started the video, I knew, like, the only question I had was if it was going to go more than 5. Could Lawson run and survive? Would that be his game plan? It wasn't, obviously, and then the ref, the ref did us no favors. Hang on one second. I got to reply to this. Hey, hang on 1 second. All right. The only, there was no doubt that Vergil was eventually, at some point, whether pick around, was going to win the fight, but that wasn't the case. Also, I want to go back to, I didn't do the first 2 fights. Raul Curiel, who I like a lot. I'm never going to be able to say that name. Hopefully you guys can help me with that. He's a good fighter. He's a really good fighter, but he needs to take a bigger step up. He's had some inactivity issues. He's had some problems with inactivity. But besides that, Raul Curiel is a legitimate 147-pound prospect. Like, I want him to be fast-tracked into a bigger fight. A fight with Staniones or something. Like, I'm serious. He's there. Like, he just give him 1 or 2 more fights, but he's 28. He's strong. He's powerful. He's just been on the shelf for a while. Oh, Ryan's here. Tanahara would have got at least 2 against Ortiz tonight. Tanahara and Vergil Ortiz in the ring together, that's like your 2 sons fighting. I can't have that. I can't, Rye. Those 2, I know they're drastically different weight now, right? There was a time when one guy was 135 and one guy was 140. I'm sure they had sparred together, they both being part of RGBA. I'm sure they had sparred together many times. Now that the weight difference is, one guy's 135 and the other guy's 154, 160. It's going to be interesting to see what weight because Verge weighed in at 156. Is he a middleweight now? And if so, is that too big for him? He's not going to have a weight advantage. He's not going to have a size advantage at 160. He's not really going to have that advantage at 154. You look at him, he looks like a 154 pounder. He looks like a pretty standard 154 pounder. So, there's not a lot. Like, he's not going to beat a big dude in the ring at 154. How much of Barroso's upset do you attribute to O'Hara's injury and inactivity? Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I need to think about that, right? Like, I thought Davies was going to lose the fight no matter what because stylistically it's just bad for him. But the way that it happened, look, I think that fight needed to be stopped. I'm not complaining about that stoppage. I think that was a fair stoppage. But if that doesn't happen, if he survives that, does things change? Does Davies get going? Because he's been inactive, right? It was just he got ring rust and he got caught at a bad time. I don't know. Like, that's a fair question. I didn't really think about that, Ryan, but that's a fair question, right? Like, he got caught in the first round by a puncher, by a big, huge, massive puncher. That could happen to anyone at any time. Really could. So it happened to him in the first round. If he was sharper, if he wasn't injured, if he wasn't inactive, is the fight different? I would say it doesn't end in the first round, but I would still probably pick Barroso because, like I said, they do a lot of the same things. They fight a lot of the same way, but Davies just does it better. Barroso just does it better. He's not as sloppy. He doesn't leave himself as open. He just does things better. And I want to get to this real quick. Okay, so I'm going to show both. Sup, bro? I made $2,500 on Barroso. Bring down the house. Share your success stories. And guys, I just started a Patreon. So if you guys know, I'm still trying to figure this out. If you guys know how to do Patreon, join my Patreon. You get a free T-shirt. All right. Sorry about that. I hit something. Join my Patreon. I'm going to put it right here in the chat. I don't really know how to do Patreon, but if you guys know how to do it, join my Patreon. All right, let me get back to this. Sup, bro? I made $2,500 on Barroso. I had him picked for months, even the first fight that got canceled. I knew O'Hara Davies had slow feet, slow hand speed, lost to all southpaws, and tied with McKenna. Easy. I thought the odds I had him as, I agree 100%. In Nori Chan, I thought those odds were ridiculous. I think that's why this was my lock of the week. And then he has this too. If Usyk wins, my Barroso parlay wins 8,000. Oh, because you're gonna hit that. It's not if Usyk wins. Usyk is fitting to win that fight. Like Usyk's. I've always said this. Usyk, the only guy I could see beating Usyk was someone like Wilder, who just catches lightning in a bottle and gets him out. Like, how is Fury? So what I'm telling you is, Inori Chan, is your money is good here, bro. You're making that money. If Usyk wins, Usyk's winning, you're gonna make it you're gonna hit 8,000 on your parlay. I want to confirm. Do you just mean he has to just win, like money line win, or do you need him by stoppage or TKO or on point? Chan, because he's definitely going to win. Like, there's no way they're going through 12 rounds and Fury's going to outbox him. I've always said that. Fury's a great heavyweight. Wilder's a really good heavyweight. Usyk's a great fighter who happens to be a heavyweight. Your money's golden. Inori Chan, your money is golden. Take that to the bank, baby. First time watching you tonight. Love the boxing enthusiasm. I appreciate it, Colton. I don't know if you're a subscriber, but subscribe to my channel. I just got everyone on this channel rich. Everyone on this channel is now richer who listened to me because I told them to take Ortiz on the under, Ortiz by TKO on the under. Under was 5.5. And I told everyone to bet the lock of the week on Barroso. And I thought the odds on that was just crazy. Like, I'm not, no shade. I also have Vergil rounds 1 to 6. Wish I had one. It's hard. On a normal day, I would have taken that 1 to 2, but I thought that the medical issues and inactivity would have Ortiz one a bit. Yeah, no, I didn't. That's why I wasn't loving the under on the 5.5, but I did say 5.5 is fair. Like, he'll probably get him out in that. I wasn't expecting this, but also, to be fair, this was a horrible stoppage, and had you not stopped, it probably would have gone 3 or 4 rounds. You know, like most people were saying 3, 4, 5, somewhere in that round. This is why I took the under. But that stoppage was just criminal, man. Like, no one's really gonna complain about it because it's freaking Fredrick Lawson. Like, we're not gonna miss Fredrick Lawson. It's not like Fredrick Lawson was doing good in the fight. Like, Barroso's like, oh, he could win. This is a real fight. No, man, it's Fredrick Lawson. But that being said, you still stole it from the guy, right? Yeah. Lawson beat Villalobos last April on the Golden Boy card. He earned this fight. He earned himself a big money fight by getting that win. That being said, he was absolutely dog food for Vergil Ortiz. And yes, the stoppage came way too soon, but it was going to happen within the next 10 minutes anyway, right? Like, this thing wasn't going deep, right? You can see that Verge could hurt him at will, and Verge looks to hurt you. So Verge was going to get him out. It was just a matter of when. But I'm not justifying that stoppage. The stoppage was awful. So take of that what you will. Where does Barroso go next? Is it a Rolly Romero rematch? Because, like, look, Golden Boy is trying everything they can to protect Ryan Garcia to get Rolly's belt. That's the one belt they think Ryan can get. And I would pick Ryan to beat Rolly Romero. I would pick him. But I also wouldn't be shocked if Rolly knocked him out, right? Like, Ryan, unless he gets knocked out. If Ryan stays on his feet, Ryan wins, but he might get knocked out too. If they put Rolly and Barroso in, like Barroso could knock Ryan Garcia out, and that's not a big money fight. Rolly's a bigger money fight, so they want to say that if he gets knocked out, at least we got paid on it. If Rolly beats, if Barroso beats Rolly, and then Ryan gets his title shot against Barroso could knock him out and not a big money fight, and that would just be a disaster for everyone. So, like, if I'm Golden Boy, I actually don't want to make that fight because I think Barroso wins that fight. Now, I'm not convinced of that, and I wouldn't, I'm not telling you to bet the ranch on that. Why don't you say something that's true, Matt? Why don't you say something that, like, might stick in my craw? Me and you both know that that's not true, right? The Kobe Bryant said whenever he played in Sacramento, there's one guy that sat behind the scorer's desk. Oh man, my mic broke. Let me fix this. Kobe Bryant said in Sacramento, his whole career, there's one guy that sat behind the scorer's desk. And every time Kobe would go in the game, the guy would stand up and say, "Kobe, you're not good at basketball," right? And at the end of his career, Kobe just like responded to it, was like, "We both know that's not true. Why don't you say something that might get underneath my skin?" Because we both know that's not true. Matt, we both know Vergil Ortiz is not a bum. We both know that. How you doing, Matt? Did you bet the ranch? Did you bet money on Vergil and Barroso? Because I did. I told y'all to do it. Oscar said Vergil. Oscar made Tony Weeks stop the fight. Is that what happened? I'm trying to get this up here. Oscar made Tony Weeks stop the fight. That's as good an argument as I can see because that stoppage was absolutely ridiculous. That was one of the most ridiculous stoppages I've ever seen. And for it to come in the first round, man, like, he hadn't even taken punishment yet. Like, no one cares because it's Fredrick Lawson and he was going to lose anyway. But, oh man, that stoppage was ridiculous. Vergil versus Tanahara is competitive. Ryan, I love you. We can't do it. Those are my sons right there. Like, those are my sons. I can't have them fighting. They need to be best friends. Rick Glazer is the one who told Oscar to sign O'Harry Davies, right? I don't know. And whenever I see Rick Glazer, I always have I feel like I'm having an Office Space moment. Like, Rick Glazer, what do you say that you do here? What does Rick Glazer do? I've seen Rick Glazer my whole life in boxing. I have no idea what his job in the boxing world is. Like, so I'm just like, Rick Glazer, what do you say it is that you do here? I have no idea. If anyone knows what he does, what Rick Glazer's actual job is, what contributions he's made to boxing, put it in the chat. I'm genuinely curious. I don't know what he does. I don't know what his job is. And who pays him? How does he make money? Aussie dude KO's Vergil. Let's see it. Let's see it. Look, I've bet against Tszyu in every big fight he's been in, so maybe I'll be wrong again. I just don't think he's very good. Right, but I also don't think Benavidez is very good either, and I'm always wrong. And I always pick Benavidez to lose, and I'm always wrong. Going all the way back to Graville, I picked Graville to beat him twice. I was wrong. I pick everyone to beat him, and I'm always wrong. He's a fight booker and PR guy. Worked with Don King. So back in the day, does he do anything? Does he do anything now, or is he just? What fights has he made? Has he made anything recently, or is it everything like back in the 80s and 90s? I think, Ryan, I think he's talking about Tim Tszyu. I think Tim Tszyu is the Aussie guy he's talking about that would knock out Verge. Verge called him out at the end of the fight or said that's the fight he wants because it's for a title. Put in the chat, like, who do you think is a easier fight for Verge? Charlo, who likes to punch women? or Zoo? What's an easier, like, if you had to get him to a title? Stop it, Ryan. Stop it. Vergil Ortiz is special. If you were managing Ortiz's career and you could get either guy in a title fight, Little Charlo or Zoo, what's an easier fight, do you think? That's an interesting one. You guys think Little Charlo? You guys think Little Charlo beats Benavidez? Little Charlo beats, I'm sorry, my brain. Little Charlo beats Ortiz? I don't think so. And he's on the wall. There's Little Charlo. I like Little Charlo before he started punching women. Good job, Matt. Matt, you're the new matchmaker. I didn't even think of this. And they're not going to make it because it's across the aisle and it's a really dangerous fight with Vergil Ortiz. But I want a Castano fight. Yeah. Hell yeah. Let's do that. You guys like that fight? It's not going to happen because, it's boxing. Why would we get good fights? Vergil Ortiz is going to fight Spike O'Sullivan or something like that. No. Brian, you think Little Charlo beats him? You think Little Charlo beats Ortiz? Did y'all forget? Did y'all forget what Vergil did to everyone? Orozco, Maurice Hooker. I mean, these aren't bums. Did you remember what Vergil did to him? Did y'all forget? Zoo finishes what Ortiz. Zoo finishes what Ortiz blood disorder started. That's good. That's good. I like that. I like that. That's hysterical, by the way. Little Charles the easier fight. Little Charles the easier fight for Ortiz and Zoo, maybe. If they fought, would you? If Little Charlo, and Zoo fought, you would take Zoo? Yeah, that's right. It must have been that long ago, Gary. I'm sorry. I forgot about him beating the legendary Hooker. That's my boy. Hooker is one of my favorite people, if not my favorite person in the boxing world. I love Maurice Hooker. And that fight was tough, too. Like, I love Verge. I'm a fan of Verge. But just, like, on a personal, that's my boy level, I love Maurice Hooker. Like, he's the first one, like, to really let me interview him and let me in and treat me like part of the media. Like, I love her. I love Maurice Hooker. Like, I would, I'd take a bullet for that guy. He's in Dallas, doing Dallas things. And that's another thing. Errol Spence is a great guy, too. He went Hollywood. Matt's asking where is the legendary Hooker now? Why is this not popping up? There you go. Where's he at now? Hooker's in Dallas doing Dallas things. He's in South Dallas doing South Dallas things. He didn't go Hollywood. He didn't go Hollywood like Spence. I saw Spence had a fight with Derek James, like just a local fight in Dallas. And Derek James goes to like every local club fight in Dallas. Spence was, and I love Spence. I'm not trying to put any disrespect on his name. He was wearing leather pants. Come on now. He did not wear leather pants in DeSoto High School. Let's quit that. Nicholas Walters going to fight Little Hooker? Maybe. Hey, I feel vindicated. I said 10 years ago after he got destroyed by Loma, Nicholas Walters will be a world champion again. And I'm going to be right. I'm going to be right. We got to get Nicholas Walters to a world title. How do we get Nicholas Walters to a world title? How can we do that? If I had to guess, what is Errol Spence's net worth? 10, wow. Okay, because that comes after the Crawford fight. How much did he make for the Crawford fight? My guess would be he's got a net worth around $20 million. That would be my guess. I don't know if he's good with his money. Derek James is really good with his money. Like, Derek James is savvy with his money. I don't know if Spence listens to him. Like, I know Charlo does, and Charlo is good with his money. I don't know if Spence does, right? Like, I see Spence wearing leather pants. That's what I know. That's what we do, Matt. That's what we do. Leather jacket, leather pants, and jackets in the 90s were undefeated. Don't lie. I'm not. I'm not. It's not the 90s anymore. And Errol Spence is 15 years old. He was born in 2000, and he started boxing in 2000 when he was 15 years old. A prime Nicholas Walters KOs Navarrete. Here's my question: what is a prime Nicholas Walters? Give me the era there. Give me the 3 or 4 fights where you point at Nicholas Walters and say that's peak primed Nicholas Walters. That's the Nicholas Walters that nobody wanted. I'm not throwing shade at you, Matt. I like the Axeman too. I thought the Axeman was good. That happened. Post don't air. That happened. That's fair enough. Or just don't air specifically, right? Like the one fight. Didn't Walters lose or have a draw with Jason Sosa? Am I making that up or did that happen? I'll look it up. I like Nicholas Walters. I thought he was going to be all right. And then he just took his money. We don't think he threw that fight, right? We don't think he threw the Loma fight. We don't think that, right? We don't think he pulled the Josh Clottey against Pacquiao and threw the fight. Because that happened. That Josh Clottey fight was as fake as the moon landing, right? Like that Josh Clottey fight, he took the money not to throw any punches. That's the weed. It's the weed, maybe. Maybe, Matt. I mean, maybe he's chilling. Maybe he's been chilling for the last 10 years, living in Jamaica, living on the beach, smoking weed, and now he's out of money. So now he's got to fight again. I don't know. Does anyone think the moon landing is real? Does anyone really think this? And then they called the president called the moon, right? That happened. He took his phone, his landline phone, and called the moon. The moon landing didn't happen. We should get into that. JFK is the one. JFK, because even the official government narrative on that is that there were more than one shooter. That's their official narrative. So that's something that needs to get into. But back I digress. Back to boxing. Do we think Nicholas Walters just took the bag? He was paid to lose. Josh Clottey. We all can all agree that Josh Clottey took the bag against Pacquiao. Josh Clottey hit Pacquiao with an uppercut, middle of the fight, snapped his head back. You can see him buckle a little bit, and Clottey was, better not do that anymore. I don't want to lose what I was promised. That breaks my heart. But can we say this? It's for Israel's Tanahara become a world champion. Can we acknowledge this? Tanahara ducking smoke against the Cuban? That was the right decision. That was the right call. He should have got in there. That was the right call. Not fighting Andy Cruz was a good decision for Hector Tanahara. Is that fair? Like that was probably Tanahara's best move. Tanahara's best move of 2023 was not fighting Andy Cruz. That was a good move. Yeah. I mean, that fight he had on the Haney pro grade card, that was spectacular. That was really, really good. He didn't show that in the Burgos fight. Like in the Burgos fight, he looked like a good boxer. Didn't really have anything extra special. You saw the extra special gifts in the rematch, right? And when Matt asked me what happened to your boy Tanahara, duck and smoke. Like duck and smoke. What do you want me to say? If Tanahara was a good friend of mine, was here, and he said, "Why did you say I was duck and smoke?" I'd say, "Because you were duck and smoke." Do we think that if they rematch as professionals, it goes any different? Keyshawn versus Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz just beats him again, right? Like for the 8th time. I mean, does anyone think Keyshawn actually beats Andy Cruz as a pro? I know there's a lot of Keyshawn Davis truthers out there. I was a Keyshawn Davis truther very early in his career, his first couple of fights. And he's good. I'm not saying he's a bum, and he may go on and win a world title, but him as the next great special American fighter, nah, dog, that ain't it. And then Keyshawn stock is gone forever. Does anyone think that anyone in the chat at all think that he could win the fight? That Keyshawn could beat Andy Cruz? Does anyone think Keyshawn? Here's one I'll put out: Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield. Floyd Schofield versus Kid Austin. Floyd Schofield versus Kid Austin. Floyd Schofield versus Keyshawn. You guys would have laughed at that 6 months ago. What do you think now? You think Keyshawn could win that fight? There you go. There you go, Matt. Ryan thinks Keyshawn. Ryan's got Keyshawn. Someone's got him. I don't really like. I don't think Keyshawn's a bum or anything like that. He's not a massive hitter. Cruz has better skills. Cruz is faster. Cruz throws better combinations. Cruz is harder to hit. Like, I don't really see it. Cruz barely beat Keyshawn in the Olympics. I understand that, Ryan, but he beat him like 5 times, bro. Like, I get it. He beat him like 5. It was a very close fight, if I remember correctly. This is over 2 years ago now, but if I remember correctly, it was a very close fight. And if I'm remembering correctly, and I could be wrong, Cruz got the first round 5-0, which I thought was like the toss-up round, and all 5 judges, and then Keyshawn won the second, and then Cruz won the third, clearly. But I thought, like, you could have made a good argument that Keyshawn won the first round, but none of the judges gave it to him. Yeah, that's what I thought. So round one was Cruz, but it was very close, right? Like, it could have went either way, and then Keyshawn won round 2 clearly, and then round 3 either way. Am I misremembering that? I thought clearly, because I remember watching that fight thinking, all right, and then watching the third round, I'm like, nah, Keyshawn lost. And that was probably rooting for the Cuban, I would imagine. I thought Cruz won, especially when they gave the first round to him. Like, I didn't think Keyshawn won the third round. I thought maybe he won the first. But none of the judges agreed. AJ beating your boy for Zhang is so slow. I still think Wilder would catch him at some point. But, like, does Zhang knock out Wilder before Wilder can knock him out? Like, these are things we would have laughed at 6 months ago, right? Like, if I would have said Zhang versus Wilder 6 months ago, you would have laughed at Zhang's so slow. Of course he's getting knocked out. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Wilder looked real bad. Like, Wilder looked like he just wanted the money. I'm not blaming the guy. You're a prize fighter. Go get your prize. But I don't know, man. Wilder looked shot. It's another thing. Like, people, if I would have said 6 months ago, 8 months ago, Barrios versus Errol Spence, everyone would have laughed at Errol Spence. Everyone would have laughed at the idea of Barrios beating Spence. Everyone would have laughed at that. They wouldn't laugh at that anymore. Like, I think that's a legitimate fight. Now, you still probably pick Spence, but Barrios, I thought Barrios did a better job with Ugas. Even though Spence stopped him, Spence got hurt, and Spence was hit a lot in that fight. Ugas had lots of moments with Spence. He had no moments with Barrios. Barrios dominated that. Yeah, I could be wrong too. I mean, it's been a couple of years now, and I never went back and rewatched it. Oh, you're from Grand Prairie? Playing with Tees. You're a Gopher? You're a Gopher, my man? Shout out to you. What year did you graduate? Wilder's cook. I don't necessarily disagree. Claude, let me ask you this question, though. A serious question. Who do you think did a better job with Ugas, Spence or Barrios? Legitimate question. I think Barrios clearly beat him better. I gotta see more Francis Ngannou. I gotta see him again. I don't know. How good do we think this guy is? I mean, he's had one professional fight. Yes, he won by first round knockout. He won by first round. Yes, he beat the undisputed heavyweight champion. We've seen Francis once. Let me try this again. And he beat the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. That happened. Like, that happened. I did. So join my Patreon. Give me a shout out, right? Share it with your friends, CS Champ. And remember the next time that the boxing bookies got you. I got you. Follow me and you're going to get rich. Let's get rich together. If AJ beats Francis, it went by knockout. Maybe. I mean, I'm not betting on the next Francis and Ngannou fight because I need to know more. Like, I'm calling off the action on the next Francis and Ngannou fight until I see more. Barroso, that's what I do. I get y'all paid. All I ask is join my Patreon. $5 a month, and I'll send you a free t-shirt. So you get the free t-shirt. You'll be the envy. You'll get all the chicks if you're wearing a 3D boxing t-shirt. Matt, who wins, Francis or AJ? Who wins? Who do you got, Matt? Who do you got? I know for a fact that Jake Paul's last fight was fixed. I know it for a fact. How do I know? The trainer told me. August's trainer told me. And styles make fights. Spence too fast for Spence for Barrios. We're talking about Barrios fighting. We were talking about Barrios fighting Spence, not Barroso. I appreciate you. And I'm going to get you paid. I'm going to make all you guys, if you just follow my tips, I'm going to get you guys paid. I'm picking Francis with all my heart. Is that just, well, weren't you, like, back in the day, 5, 6, whatever years ago it was, Matt, weren't you the AJ truther? Wasn't name redacted the Wilder fanboy and you the AJ fanboy? Wasn't that kind of how it went? And now you're picking him to lose to a UFC guy with one professional fight. Look, I was impressed with his one professional fight too. It's one professional fight. And you're asking him to beat a two-time unified heavyweight champ. It's kind of a lot. Who's not that old. I don't bet on heavyweight boxing and women's boxing. I can see it. It's unpredictable in a lot of ways, especially heavyweight boxing. I can see that. I don't hate that. And women's boxing, it's so under the radar. Like, you could just get fighters you've never heard of who are like all world. It's like, I didn't know who this was, and there was no tape on it. I don't mind that. I don't hate that. It's true. He was the biggest Wilder stan in the world. It was Wilder and Keith Thurman. It was the Wilder and Keith Thurman show is really what it was. Matt, if you want to do a show tomorrow, let me know. I will do the show tomorrow, and we can talk the 2 months of boxing it's been since we've done our last show. We're in the same group chat. Send me a message. Hop on. Let's do a show tomorrow, and we can talk about Hector Tanahara duck and smoke, which was probably the best decision he made in 2023 was duck and smoke. All right, I'm going to wrap this up, guys, I think. I've been going for 45 minutes. I'm getting tired. But just to recap, I made you guys a ton of money if you listen to me today. I'm 3-0 so far this week. I hit on Kaz Ioka on New Year's Eve, and then I hit on these two. So if you guys are following me, I'm getting you paid. And I hit on the underdog. I hit on Barroso. I hit on Vergil Ortiz and the under. Vergil Ortiz by knockout, which I don't think should have surprised anyone. Let me go through these real quick. Claude, what's your thoughts on Andy Cruz? See, I think Andy Cruz is. I think he beats Keyshawn Davis. I think I was really not that impressed with his pro debut against Burgos, but his last fight, he showed all the extra special stuff you wanted to see. So, like, I went from thinking Andy Cruz is to thinking Andy Cruz is the real deal. I still wouldn't put him in a world title fight next, but he's real close. What's up, Ryan? Fury Usyk? Usyk on points. I don't think he stops him because Fury has shown he can take a good shot. You know, he's been knocked down 4 times by Wilder. Like I don't see him stopping him, but my guess on what I haven't seen the odds yet. DraftKings doesn't have the odds yet. When they have the money line, but how's that fight going to go? Usyk on points. All right, Matt, I'm 100% down. We'll be back tomorrow. Mixed Combat Radio is back. We're gonna have Melody too. We're gonna have the whole band back together again, Matt. Is that a goat? Is that a goat, Matt? The next goat? Better Beef. I'm gonna drop that video probably tomorrow. Better Beef and Smith. Better Beef. I'm gonna go back and watch a little bit more Caleb Smith tonight. I'm gonna drop that video tomorrow. But I've binge watched Better Beef's last fight. Yo, Better Beef's the truth, man. I don't know why I ever picked Bozic to beat him. I'm gonna pick Better Beef to win by stoppage in that fight. By the way, he did. I gotta beat Fury. Usyk by elite TKO, maybe, but like Fury has shown that he can take a shot. Like that dude could have been stopped by Wilder twice. He could have been stopped by Steve Cunningham early in this fight. He could have been stopped by the big white guy. Like he's been beat up a lot and he doesn't get stopped. I don't hate the bet, Matt, but like if I was my money, I would say Usyk on points. Not probably just us. All right, that's cool. We could do it. Just the homies, just the boys. Me and Matt tomorrow. I'm gonna put him on the spot here. Matt, what time? And Matt's on the West Coast. Matt's in California. Matt, what time you want to go? What time you want to go live tomorrow? What time you want to do the show tomorrow? On Matt's Patreon. Join Matt's Patreon to get the live show, where I can brag about Bam Rodriguez. Munguia versus Ryder. Claude, I haven't watched. Man, my gut says Ryder, but don't bet on that yet. I'm gonna do a video on that soon. Go check out my channel. I'm gonna drop a video on that because I'm thinking Ryder, but I'm not sure about that yet. I might change my mind on that. But my off the top of my head, my gut says Ryder on points, but he might get stopped. So I want to watch a few things on Ryder before I drop that video. But that's a good fight. I also got to see the odds on that. Like, if Ryder on points is paying really well, because who's the betting favorite in that? Munguia is the betting favorite in that fight, right? So it might just be worth it to bet on Ryder. All right, y'all. I'm gonna wrap this up. I appreciate everyone joining me. Follow me all on social media: 3D Boxing, 3D Boxing Blog. Also, I started a Patreon. Guys, join my Patreon. It's $5 a month. 3 months, I'll send you a free t-shirt. So you'll be the envy of all your friends with your 3D Boxing Blog t-shirt. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for joining me. This went well today. I will be back. Yeah, if Munguia is the favorite, I figured he would be. I'm kind of leaning towards Ryder in that fight. Adios, y'all. From Texas to the world, thank you, and God bless. Appreciate you, Claude. From Texas to the world, thank you, and God bless.